Hi, welcome to Loop Tales. I'm Sissel. As you might know, I'm still knitting my way through this book, the Isager, My Knitting Life Volume 2. And I almost finished the sweater I'm wearing. The Taquile Sweater is almost finished. I haven't woven in all the ends yet, and I haven't washed it because it hasn't been I've been in no rush to finish it because we don't have floor heating, and I find it really difficult to dry a heavy knitted garment without floor heating. So I'm just waiting until I'm going home to my family and I can just wash it and dry it then. So I moved on to another project as soon as I finished this one. I actually ended up, as I mentioned in the previous video, I made some changes because I made this purely out of yarn from my stash and a lot of leftovers, which is why the background color is many different colors. And so my gauge ended up having fewer stitches and rounds. So instead of repeating the pattern 3 times, repeating the pattern 4 times, I only repeated it 3 times. And I actually ended up repeating it, I think it does as well, 5 times for the pattern. No, only 4 times. Yeah, anyway, I wanted to have plenty of sleeve because maybe I have a bit long arms, I don't know, but I bike a lot and I don't want the sleeves to crawl up when it's cold outside. And I didn't do decreases on the sleeves at all. I just continued them, and then I did a bunch of decreases at the end of the sleeves. I've done this on a couple of sweaters before and I like the fit. That way I don't dip the sleeves in my food, but I still get the somewhat oversized look. So I'm actually really fond of this project. It was really fun to make, and I am surprised at how happy I am with the result. I did the ribbing a bit shorter on the sleeves. Also the pattern asks for a crew neck. I didn't fold it. I like the look of this better. And it has a regular ribbed hem, and I just ended up doing a split hem. I like that better. And then I found a bunch, or I knew I'm the one who bought it, so I had this bunch of red yarn lying in my stash, and it hasn't been lying there for that long. I bought it before Christmas because I saw these red sweaters on, I feel like I saw them everywhere and I wanted to knit one myself, and so I got moving on that one because I didn't feel like any of the patterns in the Isager book really went with the color, and also this yarn is bulky and I don't think any of the patterns ask for bulky yarn. Anyway, when I bought the yarn, I really wanted to just knit a plain sweater, which I haven't knitted a sweater without color work for quite some time. Because I find it boring, and I was found it interesting to see if I would actually be able to finish it. But I finished the body, and now I only have to do the sleeves, which, I don't know, March was kind of slow knitting wise for me. I've just had a lot of things, and I don't know, sometimes you just feel like you're not really in the mood. So I'm a bit stuck on the sleeves, but I'll finish it. It's the Wednesday sweater from Petite knit. Very, very basic sweater. I don't think it even has any like short rows anywhere. No, not true. On the back, it's short rows, shaping the back. And then I did, just because I didn't like the look of how sometimes when you pick up stitches, it's difficult to make it invisible. So I decided to start out the back with just 3 rows of purl stitches to get this like change in the surface. And then I'd seen, probably on Instagram, but some sweaters that had like a sewn stitch on top of it. And so I just did some experiments with that and ended up just putting them on the back just to see. And then I have also done a few rows of purl stitches at the beginning of the sleeves, and I'm gonna do the same sewn stitches there. I like how the sewn yarn is a, what would you call that color? Not purple, but like eggplant color. And I like how it stands up next to the red. Anyway, so plain sweater, boring sweater, working on that one. I really want to wear this sweater and I'm looking forward to finishing it, but I don't enjoy knitting stockinette stitches on end, and this is 5.5 millimeter needles, so it's actually a really quick project, but just because I find it tedious or boring, I pick it up less than I would color work patterns. So actually it takes me longer to make just because I find myself feeling like a knitting machine, whereas when I'm doing color work, especially when it like when it's not the exact same thing I'm repeating, I feel like it's more exciting because like changes happen all the time. So I don't know, I might pause this project or actually do like make a deal with myself of knitting like 10 rows every evening, and then it'll be done in a couple of weeks, and then do like 10 rows of boring knitting and then continue to the more exciting knitting. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. The Wednesday sweater by Petite knit, and it was also always my plan to, like, I'd assigned this yarn to that project from the beginning. So I put the book project away for a bit and did this one, and it was just super boring. I haven't done a stockinette stitch sweater for a while. I've mostly done color work or cables or whatever, and it was just so tedious knitting round and round or back and forth. And then I added this very simple stitch. I did 2 rounds of I did what the pattern asked for, but I did 2 rounds of purl at the beginning of the sleeves, and also after I cast on, and then did this, and then I just did this simple stitch in this purple yarn leftover that I had lying around, and then I did by mistake make it a bit longer than what the pattern asks for. That was there wasn't any need for that really, but I'm not gonna change it, so it's a bit longer and maybe a bit more practical for that reason. I really like the fit of it. Yeah, I would definitely make this again, and also, yeah, as you can, if you made the sweater, you know that it asks for twisted rib, and I don't like to knit that because I feel like it hurts my hand, so I just did a regular rib. And then the neck was supposed to be longer, but because I made the body a bit longer, I didn't have enough yarn to make the neck longer. I have a bit left, so I might try and see if that's enough, but yeah, I'm not sure if I wanna actually make it longer. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Or if it should just be as it is. I actually also wonder if I should fold it down and have it be like a crew neck. I don't know. Anyway, I decided that the next project that I'm making from this book, because I'm now like, this sweater took me like 6 weeks, even though it's a really quick knit, just because it was so boring. I didn't feel like knitting. So I'm not gonna do another stockinette stitch project for a while because boring. So I need to do something with color work, something that is exciting, and so I am gonna make the Asante Sana sweater. It has an interesting neckline, which I'm not sure I'm gonna do, but I really like this like this pattern. I did some swatching already because I wasn't sure what yarn to use. Like, I'm gonna use this beige yarn for the base color. It's the Isager tweed and then a strand of silk mohair together. Very boring color. And then I have some like yarn that I'm not exactly sure what is, but mohair of some kind. These colors. And then I also have this pink wool I thought I might blend in. So this, and then I have more of this, I think. Yeah. So these, they're not the same color shade of pink. But yeah, baby blue, tomato red, and then these pinks. I think, where did my swatch go? Here they are. This was not the easiest chart to do. Like, maybe I'm just, I don't know. It took me doing it a couple of times before I got it right. And then I at first tried the pink for contrast, and that was, the pink just disappears. And then I'm not sure if I should use the pink wool as some sort of background in some areas, or if I should just only do the beige as background. I have enough of the beige. And then this is the swatch with the red mohair, and then mixed with the pink. And then I also did just try out to see if I did like a mix of the red and the pink. And then I haven't done a swatch with the blue one yet, the baby blue. I think the baby blue and the red might work. Oops. I think I need to do some more swatching to know what the blue will look like next to the red. If it should be a background color or if the contrast is enough for it to be the contrast color. I'm not sure actually. It might be because it's a cold color. A good trick is actually to take a black and white photo of whatever you want to put together, like for a Fair Isle or colorway. And if they contrast each other in the black and white photo, they will contrast each other. But if they look the same in the photo, the contrast isn't stark enough. So I might just use my own advice and see if that works. Anyway. Yeah. And then I'm also working on a smallish project that came in from the side, kind of. Where did I put that? Like, seriously? This one. I just did some sketching the other day of a like a kid's vest with cars across it in color work in different colors. I have a lot of leftover yarns where the amount is really small, so more like a scrap yarn kind of. And so I'm just not sure if I should do cars from the front or from the side or from the top view. So I'm gonna do some swatching with that as well. I can really recommend, if you draw color work patterns or charts, to do them on paper like this. At least I really prefer it, instead of the regular squared paper. This takes account for the gauge usually having more rows than it does stitches. So if you draw something on regular squared paper, usually the pattern will be dragged sideways. So this, when you draw it, it will give a more like actual view of what it will look like when you're done. Anyway, so I'm gonna do this at the same time as this, and I think both of them will be really fun to do. Oh my god. So I just did some quick knitting before I need to run some errands. This one I swatched already. I don't have that much of the brown, so I'm just keeping the stitches open. I didn't like this much, and then I tried with the blue and some leftover yarns, keeping the wheels red. That's one of the things that I think were cute on the drawing. And I did some more experimenting when I cast on, and so I went with the brown one because I like the gauge best. It has it just looked better. And then I think I'm doing these gray stripes with the cars on, and then I do another color of cars on the next stripe up here. And then these are like the lights of a, what are they called? Yeah, you all know what it is. Anyway, so it'll be 3 stripes of cars. I'm using another project for measuring that I haven't finished yet. I just need to do this one ribbing, then finish all the ends. Anyway, so I think I'll have room for like 3 rows of cars and 2 rows of these lights, and then I think I'll flip them for the next one. And then I think the cars are gonna drive the opposite direction for the next stripe. Anyway, only thing is, because I'm using the gray and the brown, it's looking a little dark. Maybe it's not very summery. I need to find a brighter color for the next cars, I think. To be continued, I guess. It's quite late. I am just obsessed with knitting this one with the cars. It's basically knitting itself. It's exactly as I foresaw, kind of. I haven't been able to put them away. The other project that I got started on is the Isager sweater, which it hasn't grown much yet, but it's this one soon, hopefully. And I'm just realizing, like, knitting is just so much more fun when you knit for the process instead of the product. Like, I stayed up for way too long yesterday and I finished the body of this sweater. Now I just need to add the sleeves. And then just a shout out for this yarn. Like all the colors and the gray as well. I think the gray is Highland wool from Isager, which is a bit thin for this project actually, but I'm hoping that it'll fold out a bit more when washed. And then the colors are just like leftover yarns. But this brown yarn, Filcolana Pernilla, it's a really great yarn for children's projects. I think it just, you can't really see how nice it actually comes out knitted. It just, on a 3.5mm needle, it just is perfect in my opinion. It's stretchy, it's pure wool, non-superwash, and it's not the last project that I'm in my non-buy year, but next year it's not my last project in Pernilla for sure. Like, this is just a joy to knit in, and I think it would be great for, because it has it's not like a slippery yarn yet. Like, you could do color work with this yarn, I think, and it has the perfect weight as well. Like, it's not too thick for color work and it's not super thin either. I think I would really like to try to do a project in like this kind of yarn only. I am not very far on this project, but it is moving forward. So this is gonna be the back. I decided to pick up stitches on the wrong side, basically, because just to have some contrast for this pattern. And then I have the 2 shades of pink. I think it turned out all right. Why is it so dark? And then I don't know if you can tell, but in some places, like there, the red comes through a little. Usually when I have long floats like this, I do a little weave in on the back. Whoops, they look like that. That one. Like, twist one way, knit a stitch, twist the other way, knit a stitch. But I am not thrilled with how, because I guess it's because of the mohair, it kind of comes through a little bit. So I just decided to do like really long floats for the pink, and then I'm gonna somehow sew them in afterwards instead. So I'm just gonna leave the long threads hanging, I think, for the body. That's actually the only thing I'm not thrilled with so far on this project. And then I think I really like the neckline actually
in the original pattern in the book, but I think I'm just gonna do a simple 2x2 ribbing for this one because the yarn is so soft that I don't think I would be able to get a neck that stays up the way that the pattern in the book does. Maybe if I had a like a pure wool yarn, because this is just, it's just very like knitwear that wants to drape and not stand up, basically. Yeah. I finally finished my car sweater, and I've washed it and it's all done, and it's so cute. I think it ended up just the way that I planned, with cars driving in different directions, and the traffic lights. Yeah. My little fun project is done. I had to extend it a bit on the I had to extend it a bit at the bottom because it had become a little too short. But other than that, it turned out just as expected. So as I said last night, I have washed and dried this little sweater, and it's just ready for use. Was not a part of my Isager project, but I got some good use out of leftover yarn, which is really nice. And then let's see, I'm still working on the Asante Sana sweater. Right now I have I've started I'm knitting in the round now on the body. I have the arm openings done. I ended up mixing the pink and the red for the upper part of the shoulders. So this is the back, and then I thought I was just gonna do one panel of this on the chest, but it turned out a bit more narrow than I don't know why I expect. I had some idea that it was gonna be wider, but I'm gonna do 3 of these stripes instead, or 3 panels on the body, and then the ribbing, and then I think I'm gonna do another 3 on the sleeves as well. Maybe even 4 if the sleeves need to be longer, I don't know. So it's gonna end up looking like a sweater with very wide stripes. Yeah, and I'm quite happy with what it looks like now. I think I'm gonna do just a simple 2x2 ribbing for the neck. So this is gonna end up quite different from what it looks like in the book. Just gonna find it. I'm actually kind of sad that I can't do the neck because I really like how it stands up. But I might incorporate that in a different project. And because I finished this car sweater, I like to have 2 projects going on at the same time. So I started doing the Inca Striped sweater project, this one, which I liked the neckline when I saw it from the beginning. I'm not sure, like I thought it would be a good project to do a cotton t-shirt from, so I might not do the long sleeves but just have it be short sleeves. And I found that I have a bunch of cotton from mainly what's it called? Crea Deluxe, which was meant to, for a long time ago, I was planning to crochet teddies, and so that never happened. So I just have a lot of these in different blue colors, and then I have some other colors of cotton yarn laying around. I think it's really fun to make, actually, this project. You start out, it's knitted from top to bottom, and you start along the neckline, so the neckline is actually what you knit last. It has a really, the back side is much higher than the front. I always appreciate a designer who don't make the front and back the same. And then I'm just on with the stripes. I did a swatch because I also had some warmer colors that I wanted to use, but I think I just didn't really like the look of this. It's hairs everywhere. I didn't really like the look of this, and then I tried out if I could do, because I thought it was a bit boring with the stripes, if I could do some sort of slip stitch pattern to make it a bit more interesting. So yeah, skipping this became having 3 rows with slip stitches is a bit much, like it might end up looking weird. Anyway, I ended up not doing any of this, and then I ended up leaving out the warm colors actually. But then I remembered sometimes when you put together colors, it's important to have an ugly color in the mix to make it less boring, I guess. So I started out with the cool colors, and then I added this green, which I thought didn't really match. Yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's done. And then actually it's been a long time since I've knitted a raglan project, and I actually like these raglan increases. Very basic project. I think most knitters could do this, and it's fun to switch colors along the way. I think it keeps it entertaining to knit because you want to get to the next stripe and the next stripe. So I think I would really recommend this project, and I am following the instructions, and I have the same gauge. It's not like the other projects where I have a different gauge, so I'm just following this the pattern directions as they say, and that is also quite relaxing, not having to do your own calculations. And I'm actually really loving this project. I think I might do a second one of this because I have a lot of 50-50 wool cotton yarn, and I think it would make a really nice sweater with that quality. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I'm really happy that here in Denmark and Scandinavia in general, you have really bright summer nights. Like in Southern Europe, it gets dark really quick, but in Denmark, it stays light for until like, I can't remember when the sun goes down, but until like 9 or 10. So it's much easier or nicer to knit, I think, when it's still light out. I really like that, so maybe I'll pick up my knitting a bit more the next or over the summer. Usually I do, even though I guess it's mostly considered a winter sport, winter activity. Yeah, so that's how far I am. And if you have any recommendations for cotton wool. That isn't teddies, because I'm not. I think I made one and it didn't go very well, so I'm not knitting teddies, but t-shirt patterns. I'd like to see those. And also just thank you for watching. And if you want to see more of these knitting vlogs, you can follow.